Yeah.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Hold on just a minute. How's that?
Yes,
David, my name's Marty Ayotte.
I'm Marty Ayotte. How are you?
I'm great, my friend. Very, very nice. Very great.
Terrific. Which organization are you with, Marty?
Audio Journal,
Audio Journal in Worcester with Mary. Yes, great.
12 years.
Thanks for your service.
It's a great thing, and it's unbelievable what I learn every week when I read these stories of disabled athletes. So it's a great,
Yes. Great. How's my tie?
spectacular.
Carla, good afternoon. Or good morning.
Hello.
Is it morning still? Still morning, technically.
Oh, it is. And the sun is shining. It looks like a nice day. Nice to meet you, Marty. I'm Carla Kath. I'm the Director of Communications at MCB.
Carla, pleasure to meet you.
Yes, you too. Thank you for your service.
It is really a great thing.
And you read the sports, is that what I heard?
I've been doing sports for 12 years, and I've filled in doing other things like, any of the other programs at Audio Journal. But I'm a retired athlete, and so that's why I kind of liked doing the sports thing.
Yeah, of course. What did you play? Or what sport
Well,
did you do?
I'm a hand cyclist. You familiar with hand cycles?
Yes, I a little bit.
Well, I've done 12 marathons. I did New York in 2011.
That is impressive.
Wow.
Well,
It's impressive to see in person too. I remember seeing a few of those in the Boston Marathon a few years ago.
oh, sure. The New York Marathon was the biggest marathon, and I think the greatest marathon in the world is the New York Marathon. But there were 47,000 runners and 97 hand cycles. And
Really?
usually when I was in any of the other marathons I've been in, it was like, if it was a good marathon, you had 10 hand cycles. Usually I was one or two of the only there. And there were some where I was the only one. Certainly in Worcester, we did one here in you familiar with Worcester, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Well, that's where I live. And so I was the only hand cycle in Worcester during the Worcester Marathon. But yeah, a lot of fun. And, you can Google Marty Ayotte and you can see do you ski? Do you know NASTAR in skiing?
No.
If you've ever been to a ski slope, you'll see an amateur, a designated piste that's sectioned off just for NASTAR. It's the National Amateur Racing Society, whatever it is, but that's what NASTAR stands for.
Okay.
So
My friend Terry Giovi was involved with that. Do you know Terry?
I don't. I was at Wachusett most of the time, but I've skied from my main mountain was like Sunday River, Sugarloaf, all those mountains, really kind of, northern New Hampshire, northern Maine.
Nice. Hi,
So, yeah,
Sal
skiing
and
and
Anna and Mary.
Hi, Commissioner. Hi, Sal. Hi, Mary. Hi, Carla. Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I see a lot of new folks here. Sal, is it Sal?
Yep.
And Anna?
Yes. Hi, Marty. How are you?
I'm very, very well. And who's Jane? Oh, is Jane coming in?
Jane
Here I come.
Audio Journal listener.
Oh, hi, Jane. And hi, Mary.
Hi, Marty.
Are there two Janes?
Oh, there could be because you are not Jane Warren. You are correct.
All right. I have to turn my light on.
Marty, that was pretty incredible. Story
Hello.
on marathons, pretty impressive.
And all that happened after 55 too, Sal. I had gotten laid off from work and I said, well, I'm just gonna retire, start collecting my money. And I thought I was gonna be in the Olympics. That's what I really thought I was gonna do at 55. And I went to Aspen, Colorado and trained with some of these young kids, 20, 25 years old. And very soon I realized that was a lofty goal to think that I was ever going to be in the Olympics, but I had that goal. I wanted to do it. And then I ended up doing all these things around here, New England. A lot of
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'm Richard.
Oh, hi, Richard Chapman.
Hi.
Hi, it's Anna. I'm just gonna rename you on my thing so I know how to find you when I need to spotlight you.
Marty,
How are
we've
you?
been working with an
Anna?
organization that they, using haptic feedback, had a blind person run the New York City Marathon.
Sure. I've skied with many blind skiers. And I mean skiers that go 50 miles an hour blind. They have such trust in their escort or their guide or whatever you want to call it. They have such trust, and the bond between a blind skier and their escort is got to be, it's got to be electric. You've got to be knowing what's in that person's brain and feeling it. Really impressed. And one of the skiers, his name escapes me now, but he was big. He was like 6'4", 250 pounds, and he would fly down Loon Mountain. That's where I started, was Loon Mountain, where I started training to race. I raced with Andy Parr, who is a visually impaired Olympian, probably like, late 90s, maybe early 2000s. But Andy Parr was my coach. And I kept hanging around with a friend of mine, Steve Wilansky, and he and I went skiing everywhere, all over, from Whiteface and everything in New York. And Steve was my schlepper. Whenever we went, Steve would carry my gear on my skis and my bucket. And if you've ever seen a sit skier, you see all the gear that they have. And Steve was talking to Andy Parr. I'm skiing, I'm training, and Steve says, man, you better slow him down. He's going to get hurt. And the coach said, don't you ever tell him to slow down. And I can tell you, I never did. I have 17 medals. I have 4 golds in NASTAR, and it's amateur, but I've got 17 medals in skiing. So I worked hard. And I skied in rain, I skied in puddles, I skied in mud. I've skied in everything because you want to be the best on that day.
Are you a 2 ski or a 3 ski?
What do you mean?
I noticed from some of my friends when I've been with them, some of them have 2 skis, some of them have 1 ski, some of them have 3 skis.
I'm a mono skier.
You're a 1 ski, wow.
Oh, sure. I've been clocked at 68 miles an hour going down So
Marty, I'm just meeting you and I already love you, but you're nuts. You realize that you
I have to tell you, there's a very high risk to pay. A price to pay.
1 ski is a lot of risk, yeah.
Yeah, there's plates and stuff in here, and it's actually.
I went completely blind by when I wiped out. I detached my retina, and I went.
Oh, sure. Oh, I've seen some accidents, believe me, some fellow skiers, and I always watch skiing. Skiing is back on again now, all the reruns from this past World Cup season. So they're all on, if you watch the Olympic channel, channel 333. And so you're seeing all the beginning of the skiing. And some
Killington's getting snow tonight.
Pardon?
Killington's getting snow tonight.
I've done Killington a couple times. It wasn't my favorite place, but I've done Killington a few times. And I had 2 friends that lived up there in the winter. They were pretty, they had condos up there. So it was a different skiing at Killington. Let me tell you, you got to be ready for it.
Let me ask you this question. One of my brothers is a skier, Sunday River up. He has a home up Jackson, New Hampshire, near the Mount Washington area. Do you find, I don't think I got your name, but do you find that it's better for all you accomplish? Is it better with spring skiing, or do you find that any type of skiing any type of condition, any type of, during the winter or spring is really good.
Well, I can certainly say that I only raced. Very seldom did was I a recreational skier. If I was going to the mountain, I was going there to try to get baths. So the winter bulletproof ice. I don't want powder. I want ice. I want to carve. If you go on Marty Ayotte on YouTube, you can see many racing videos of mine, skiing videos. But the thing about spring skiing is once the season is over and you're skiing in a t-shirt, or you're doing the pond skim where you come down the mountain, it's springtime, it's 70 degrees, but there's still, 2 feet of snow. Oh, that's Anna. Hold on just a minute, Anna. The spring skiing was great because now you're not under pressure to perform, and we've packed lunch and we've brought lunch up to the mountain, and just one of those places where if it was below zero, you were still skiing. But now it's spring skiing and the pressure is off, and it's so fantastic. Let me see what Anna needs, because Anna wants to join us, but you're probably having a problem. Anna, what's up, hon? Do you?
So in just a minute, hi everyone, in just a minute, I'm going to start a little slideshow that we prepared for everyone to kind of just take a look at and listen to just while everyone kind of joins the Zoom. So if you see everything kind of switch over and hear some audio, that's why. Just a little something for people to watch as we'll give about 5 minutes for people to join the Zoom.
Hello from the Audible Local Ledger, located in beautiful Mashpee, Massachusetts, serving the Cape, the Islands, and the South Coast as part of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network. Your main, MAIN, source for accessible community news and information. Here at the Ledger, we read newspapers and periodicals most mornings and afternoons, and give our evening hours over to more entertaining, curated endeavors like musician biographies of the jazz artist Spotlight and the brilliant short stories of our Fiction 4 Ways series, blending poetry with short fiction. We couldn't present such diverse programming without the support of donors and our volunteers. To learn more about volunteering or reading, visit audiblelocalledger.org. We're deeply grateful to all who contribute their time or their financial support.
You're listening to the Audible Local Ledger, brought to you on radio subcarriers through 95.1 WXTK and 89.3 Rhode Island Public Radio.
Hi. When you hear the sounds of the Greg Abate Quartet playing straight ahead, you know it's time for the Fall River Herald News from the Audible Local Ledger.
Hello from the Mashpee Middle High School, located in beautiful Mashpee, Massachusetts. My name is Evelyn, and I will be reading from the Vanity Fair 2021 issue. As part of the Audible Local Ledger's High School Student Community Service Program.
Hello from the Mashpee Middle High School, located in beautiful Mashpee, Massachusetts. My name is Sean, and I will be reading from the Wednesday, April 7th, 2021 issue of the New Bedford Standard Times.
Good evening. I'm Eric Joseph, Executive Director of the Audible Local Ledger, a member of MAIN, the Massachusetts Audio Information Network, and I welcome you to the latest installment of the Ledger Jazz Artist Spotlight, bringing you the music and life stories of history's greatest jazz artists.
Audio Journal is a proud member of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network. I'm Catherine Thornton, reading with
Julie Standrovich.
I will be bringing you news from the Bolton Stowe Independent, Harvard Press, Hudson Sun, Marlborough Enterprise, Community Advocate, and other area newspapers. This is Arnie Wensky. Thanks for joining me.
Welcome to Backyard Bookshelf, a production of Audio Journal. Welcome to Community News. This is Dave Russell. We will be bringing you news from the Gardner News, including the communities of Gardner, Ashburnham, Athol, Hubbardston, Orange, Petersham, Phillipston, Royalston, Templeton, Westminster, and Winchendon.
Hello, Audio Journal listeners, and welcome to Community News. And in the next hour, we will be bringing you the news from the Barrie Gazette and the Spencer New Leader. This is David Flick.
I'm George Bloomquist, and I welcome you to Audio Journal's Backyard Bookshelf.
Welcome to Community News covering the towns of Webster, Dudley, Oxford, Douglas, Northbridge, Uxbridge, Whitensville, Upton, Milford, Mendon, and Blackstone. This is Jennifer Antkowiak reading with Arnie Wensky.
My name is Marty, and along with Anna, we'll be bringing you news and information about disabled folks.
Good afternoon. This is Paul Nadeau, and I will be reading the Telegram and Gazette.
Good morning. I'm Sue Fife, welcoming you to this week's Shopper's Guide.
Hello and welcome to Speaking Volumes, the radio book group for everyone who enjoys reading and talking about books. 5 of us are assembled virtually tonight.
This is Mike Plant. Welcome to A Common Voice, a program covering topics about living in the community with your disability.
This morning about 9:35 in Courtroom 1 of Oakland Federal Courthouse in Boston's Seaport District, Day 5 of testimony continues.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Gittins, and I'll be reading the Telegram and Gazette for today from Southborough, Massachusetts.
Hello, everyone. This is Tracy welcoming you to Everyday Health, an audio journal program in which we share information about healthy living.
Good afternoon to all of the volunteers, listeners, administrators, and legislators who are joining us for our first statewide volunteer appreciation meeting of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network. Your main, spelled M-A-I-N, source for accessible community news and information. My name is Eric Joseph. I'm the Executive Director of the Audible Local Ledger in Mashpee, which services the Southeast region of the network. That includes the Cape, the Islands, and the South Coast. I'll be acting as your MC this evening, which means, actually this afternoon, which means I'm really a traffic cop, making sure we stick to a few minutes each so we have enough time for all of our speakers today. And we do have a wide variety of speakers joining us. We'll hear from listeners, legislators, executive directors, administrators, and of course, a few of the stars of the day. Yes, our remarkably selfless volunteers who freely give so generously of their time and energy. We'll be recording the event today and thought it'd be fun to take a group photo of our attendees during the Zoom and share it with our volunteers so you can all see the friendly faces that make up the main network. Speaking of which, a little info about the network, and then we'll begin our series of speakers. The Massachusetts Audio Information Network is a relatively new name that belies a much more mature group. 6 organizations committed to providing assistive technology to the blind, those with low vision, and the print impaired. Nonprofit members making up the network from east to west are the Audible Local Ledger in Mashpee, the Talking Information Center in Marshfield, the Lowell Association for the Blind in Lowell, Audio Journal in Worcester, the Berkshire Talking Chronicle in Pittsfield, and Valley Eye Radio in Springfield. Each of these decades-old individual and equal members will enjoy some representation during the hour. I know during my time as a volunteer at TIC, I had very little insight into what the other members of the network were doing, or even who they were and how they worked. So we're hoping a result of this gathering won't just be you receiving our heartfelt thanks, but will prove informative regarding what you're truly a part of, which carries a much larger impact than you might think. Any conversation about the history of the network's beginnings wouldn't be complete without a nod to Ron Bersani from TIC, who back in 1977 recognized the potential and over the following decades spearheaded a collaboration of like-minded but disparate entities. And he turned them into a statewide organization committed to keeping isolated blind and print impaired individuals connected to their communities. His work to assist the vision impaired over close to 40 years plays a large part in what's led us to today. He's truly made a difference in both our individual organizations and the entire network's success. We all thank you, Ron. The genesis of the individual reading services is varied. By way of example, the Ledger in Mashpee grew out of a blind Josephine Fletcher's living room broadcasts with friends, and the Audio Journal started their broadcasting out of a library's closet. Broadcasters Lowell Association for the Blind and the Berkshire Talking Chronicle have run a variety of programs for many years that involve training and direct contact with consumers of their services. And Valley Eye Radio has been assisting the print impaired of Western Massachusetts for over 4 decades. What unites all of the main members, though, is the common goal of helping our blind and low vision neighbors in our communities. To state that one wants to help others, well, that's an easy thing. Just ask a child. Most folks are raised with that idea. It's innate. But taking that idea and then putting it into action can't be done without the help of many hands and voices delivering a lot of effort. And it is all those hands and voices who have given their time and energy over the past 40 years that we honor today. And where are we today? Maine members can be heard in over 200 communities via radio receiver, smart speaker, website, mobile app, landline phone, community cable TV. What in some cases started as a scattered, caring clusters of a few like-minded citizens has grown into a network of over 500 readers who deliver over 400 hours of community news and information each week. We deliver that to approximately 7,000 blind and print impaired listeners across the state. More than 300 publications are now read, and over 50 special topics ranging from COVID updates and information to town meeting notes, to live radio plays, to high school service programs, to broadcasting low vision support group meetings have become regular programming. Maine has over 100 collaborating organizations and receives both community and state support. We thank you, legislators. Though we had a setback in the House this week, we're still confident things will go well for us. But the true investment comes from our volunteers, whose time may be valued at somewhere between $400,000 and $800,000 a year by accountants, but whose compassion and kindness, well, it's priceless. To each and every volunteer who gave of their time in studio, or more recently, in their pajamas, quietly reading into a mic while the rest of the house slept, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we'll move to our speakers. And while I'm introducing the executive directors, we can't overlook the staff and board members who support our efforts. People like John Shea, Harold Anderson, Hazel Goodsell, Matt Auger, and too many others to list. The executive directors may be the faces of our organizations, but there's no doubt the staffers represent our hearts, and we're grateful for all your passionate support. Now we start our trip across the state with the Audio Journal in Worcester, which put together the slideshow that starts and ends our hour this afternoon. Mary Franson is the executive director. She's done a wonderful job since coming on board. The main logo came from her staff, and she's rallied great legislative support during these challenging times. Hi, Mary. Would you like to make the introductions of your volunteers and speakers?
Oh, Eric, thank you. That was great, Eric. I love that little summary you did of all of us and our history. I'm so glad to be here today celebrating our volunteers. I like to describe their dedication as remarkable. Audio Journal has some volunteers who have been with us for nearly 30 years. They take their craft very seriously, creating quality sounding broadcasts like you heard with the slideshow. First, I want to introduce Jane Moran. She is an Audio Journal listener. Jane was born blind and attended Perkins School for the Blind as a child. Long before I began working at Audio Journal, I knew Jane through some mutual friends. She is a fabulous singer, and at the studios, a picture of Jane singing into a microphone is included on our photo wall. Jane listens to Audio Journal on our new iPhone app. Jane?
Thank you, Mary. I just want to say, first of all, that this is an honor to be here. I mean, for the whole state and to represent Audio Journal. I've been around with Audio Journal since its inception, and I remember the big clunky radios. They had these big things with the telescopic antenna, and you didn't know where you were going to put it, but you had to find a place for it. And now we have so many ways, and we don't even need extra radios anymore. At least some of us don't. Before I used the app, I used to go to the website, and I would go into the archives if I wanted to listen to a program that I might have missed or whatever, because I can't always listen when something is on. So it's really nice to be able to go back, and if I have to leave it, I can go back where I left off. It's a great app. I can't say enough about it. But enough about that. I want to talk about the volunteers and how wonderful you are and how much we appreciate you and the work that you do and the caring and all the little innuendos when you're reading. You might have a little comment about something, and in certain subjects there might be something that you share with us while you're reading. And it's not just straightforward reading, it's communicating and being with us and sharing what you have and brightening up people's day. I was in nursing home twice. I broke both ankles 5 years apart, but I was in 2 different nursing homes. And I had plenty of time to listen to Audio Journal, and among other things. But my roommates were fascinated by it. They thought it was great. And I thought maybe one of them would become a volunteer, but I guess she changed her mind. In the rehab part, you get all ages. So, you know, with the regular residents, so, you know, you can have young people as your roommate. But it's an amazing thing. And when I explain to people what it's all about, they want to be a part of it. And I've gone to volunteer appreciation dinners, the Dining in the Dark, which is a riot, and that we do. And people, there's so much love and so much feeling, and you are a gift. Don't ever forget, you are worth so much. When you feel down and out, you're worth so much. You have no idea what you do for people and how you make us feel. Because I never knew about what the newspaper was like until you guys started reading it. And I just am so grateful. And I'm going to cry if I don't stop. It's very emotional for me. It's a beautiful thing because I've watched all this, and I use the word loosely because I have 2 artificial eyes. I'm totally blind. I was a preemie. I was 2 pounds 2 ounces, and I was blinded from the incubator. You know, wow. Too much oxygen. And 9,000 babies later, they figured it out. But that's okay, because Virginia Graham said it well. She said that we had 20/20 vision of the heart. And you people just fill my heart. I can't tell you enough. And I'm going to say, I want to say hi to Senator Moore for a minute and just say hi to him, because I've been in his company a couple of times, and I'm so glad that you're here. And I want to leave you with this one little thought. I was supposed to sing today, but there wasn't time. So here we go. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Thank you.
Oh, wow, Jane. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Very nice.
Okay, next we have Mike Hauk, an Audio Journal volunteer reader for 20 years. Mike is one of our busiest volunteers, reading for 3 programs: the Telegram and Gazette, Another Point of View, and The World is Watching. And Mike always is willing to lend a hand at any type of event. And he also volunteers for the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Mary. As Mary said, I've been a volunteer for the Audio Journal for quite some time, and it's been very rewarding experience for all those years. I've had the opportunity to work with some really wonderful people. But more importantly, it's afforded me the personal satisfaction of believing that I'm helping, even if it's just a small way, to be part of the solution for those who are blind and visually impaired. We often refer to our contemporary times as the information age, where access to timely and accurate information and news is so critical for everyone to enjoy a full participation in society, socially, politically, and economically. One of my programs, Another Point of View, which I do with my partner, Lou Camardo, involves selecting a topic of current controversy and reading articles from both progressive and conservative points of view that we've researched and collected. And I think this is an important and example of the way we can help people stay informed about current issues, especially ones that they're asked to vote on, nationally at the state or local level as well. We did a program on recreational marijuana when that was a petition before the Massachusetts voters. And we did a program on the Death with Dignity bill, which is a pending piece of legislation before the Massachusetts legislature, just as examples. For me, the services like the Audio Journal are so important because much of the sighted world does not fully realize how many simple everyday tasks become significant challenge when one is blind or visually impaired. One of the important requests I have to make of the consumers, as a volunteer and someone who is a non-professional in broadcasting, I know that there's many ways I can improve my programming, its production, its delivery, its content. So we really need to get your feedback, the warts and all, so we can continuously improve our programming. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Mike's always trying to get better. Finally, we have Senator Michael Moore, who was instrumental in securing Massachusetts state funding this fiscal year for 5 of the members of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network. The first time I met him was last fall on a Zoom meeting, which he joined from his car. Now there's dedication too. And I look forward to the day when he can visit Audio Journal studios and see our volunteers in action. Go ahead, Senator Moore.
Good afternoon. Nice seeing you all, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this today. Jane, you are originally from Millbury, correct?
Jane is from Auburn.
Auburn. Okay, Jane, what's your father's name? Is she still on?
Maybe she didn't stay on. I'll find out later.
Well, just for everyone.
His name is Eddie. His name, I was muted, I'm sorry. His name is Eddie, and yes, I was from Millbury, but I live in Auburn now. He owned the Granite Club in Millbury where I sang with my sister. And
So
we were there for years.
If I remember correctly, didn't you come over my house and your father was good friends with my father?
It's very possible.
Okay. And
It was a long time ago. I'm 72 now, and I started there when I was 14. So, I don't remember everything.
just to remember, didn't you sing at the Red Sox game?
Yep, the first game of the 1975 World Series. And Louis Tiant pitched a shutout.
Yeah,
And it was pouring rain that day. And I was holding a microphone that was wired. And I had a wired headset on my head. And the rain was coming down. And I started to sing. And the first 4 words, "Oh, say can you," didn't come out because I forgot to turn my mic on. And it was like a bad dream. I thought I was going to get electrocuted and die in front of the whole world. It seemed like those few minutes were so long, but they did turn it on and it worked out fine, and all's well that ends well. But wow, it was crazy.
I don't know if you remember, your father and yourself, and I was just a teenager. You actually came over to my house several times. And
Probably.
That's actually when I first met you, when I was a teenager, and just before you were going on and singing for the Red Sox at the World Series. So,
Oh, that was, quite a while ago. I don't know. I've been to so many places with him, I couldn't keep track. But it's nice to see
I didn't know you were going to be on here, so it was nice to hear you sing again. And you brought back some very good memories of my teenage years. So thank you.
Wow.
That's great.
We got to keep young, right? We got to stay young.
So I want to thank all the volunteers for everything that you do. The Commonwealth whether in good times or bad times, we try to provide services, and whether we can be successful in providing funding like we were last legislative session or last year for Audio Journal, Audio Information Network. Even with the funding, it's nothing we can, then there's nothing we can do unless we have the help and support of volunteers and individuals like yourselves who have come forward and, you know, donated your time for people who need your assistance and for worthy causes. There's so many things that, especially in times of need, that people are coming to the legislature and looking for funding. In all honesty, I think this is when the legislature or state government should be stepping up in providing the services to people who really need our help. And a lot of this is just for basic services that we all take for granted. So thank you all for working with everyone, being there. And we can't be successful, or you know, our community, we can't be a community unless we are there for each other. That's, you know, and I hate to go back to, I think it's George Bush Senior. What's the comment he made about
1,000 points of light.
Takes a village, and it really does. You know, there's probably no greater quote that we can look back to, that without the village and us being there for each other, we can't be successful. So I'm actually very thankful and honored that you came to me last session to help you get the funding, and hopefully we'll be able to be successful again this year and get you the same funding that you need. But thank you all for all your work helping people, because that's what it's about. And I think
Thank you.
what we need to remember. So thank you all, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this today. And Jane, thank you for bringing back, when I heard you saying, thank you for bringing back some great memories.
Thank you, Senator Moore. And I'll just remind everybody that if we can keep it to just a couple of minutes, we have a lot of people to get through, and we're really eager to hear from everybody. And we move across. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Lots of great stuff is being said, and we're all sharing in it, which is wonderful. Now we move across the state to the Talking Information Center in Marshfield, whose executive director is Anna Dunbar, and has developed several programs and built strong relationships with TIC's volunteers and legislators, all while managing the largest staff and the largest volunteer team in the network. All Maine members use some of TIC's powerful programming and are grateful that we're all equal content sharing members of the network. Anna, how about filling us in on your speakers today?
Thank you, Eric. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. First up, I am very excited to present to you one of our amazing volunteers, Miss Laura Kerrigan. Laura has been with TIC for a little over 3 years now. You can hear her weekly reading the Boston Herald. And if that wasn't enough, she has dedicated literally countless volunteer hours performing in and directing our TIC radio and podcast players, which is our live radio theater, which was started by the amazing Eric Joseph and then taken under the wing by a few volunteers, Laura being one of the most predominant ones. So thank you, Laura, for your service, and welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Even though I started volunteering with TIC about 3 years ago, I've actually volunteered for a radio reading service for several years in Phoenix, Arizona, called Sun Sounds Radio. My mom's best friend, Ruthie, had macular degeneration. And back then, I was looking for somebody to read to her. I remember researching library services to try to find somebody that I could set her up with. And I discovered a radio reading service. And I set Ruthie up, and she was just delighted. And her enthusiasm made me want to volunteer, so I did. And so when I moved out to the South Shore a couple of years ago, I actually sought out a radio reading service to volunteer. And so I happily discovered the Talking Information Center in Marshfield. And when I read, I really imagine Ruthie or somebody like her sitting in her armchair, just appreciating hearing the news of the day, especially told to her with a friendly voice. And it makes me feel really good inside. I started doing the radio plays under Eric Joseph's wonderful guidance because I really love the stage and I have a little bit of a ham in me, but also because I think entertaining our listeners is really just as important. A radio play, you're connecting on a human level with that shared experience. And it really gives you a break from your everyday stress and anxiety that you might get from the regular news. So I really think that the radio play program is just a wonderful gift that TIC gives to its listeners. And I'm really happy to be a part of it. And just a shameless plug, I am directing the next radio play for the Talking Information Center. It is a romantic fantasy called Stairway to Heaven, and it will be broadcast on Thursday, June 24th at 7 p.m. So be sure to tune in. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for all that you do. I know our listeners really appreciate it. And speaking of listeners, next up, we have the one and only Richard Chapman, who has been a longtime listener of the Talking Information Center. Not only is he a listener, but he is a strong advocate for us and is always going to bat for us, talking to legislators, as well as, sending me information of support groups to speak to, basically doing a lot of marketing for us as well. So Richard, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I hope I'm unmuted. This is Richard Chapman. When Anna Dunbar asked me to participate, I decided this is great because as Anna said, we met with a local representative who at the time was part of the House Ways and Means Committee. And I all of a sudden froze and I thought, what can I say that is better? What can I say, especially when we have a good array of speakers? And I'm certainly not going to sing like my fellow Perkins grad, Jane Moran. I couldn't sing, couldn't carry a tune in a basket if it meant my life. So I thought, what can I say about these wonderful volunteers? I listened to the Wall Street Journal, to the Boston Globe. I'm especially a fan of the radio podcasts, and I'm looking forward to the next one on June 24th. But what can I say that is different? What can I say that people will remember? Well, I kept thinking about it, and I had a couple of errands to do. Now, I do my best creative thinking, what little creative thinking I do, while walking down Perkins Street here in Jamaica Plain, where I live, or running on the treadmill several hours a week for an hour each time, which I do in the fitness area in the building where I live. And I thought, gee whiz, I suppose I could talk about the fact that these men and women, and it was mentioned, stress-free reading, a pleasant reading voice, and not only the fact that you can hear them, but you can hear them on the computer if you want to hear them again. And in conclusion, I just want to say, the only thing I could think of saying, which could convey my gratitude to all of you volunteers, is thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us and for all that you do for us and the low vision community. Next up, I am very excited to introduce Senator Patrick O'Connor. We're very excited to have him here today. Senator O'Connor is the Assistant Minority Leader. He represents Plymouth and Norfolk County, including Duxbury, Hingham, Hull, Marshfield, Norwell, Scituate, Cohasset, and Weymouth. And of course, I wrote it down because that is so many towns to represent. And he is most recently was appointed to the Commission on the Status of Persons with Disabilities. On top of all that, he is one of the largest advocates for the Talking Information Center and the entire Maine network, and we appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you, Senator O'Connor.
Thank you, Anna. And, it's good to see my colleague, Senator Moore, and I see Senator Goby on here as well, and Commissioner DiArcangelo, good to see you, and Carla from MCV. I just think that the work that all of you collectively do for those who are visually impaired in the state is just remarkable. And without you, this resource would not be available to so many people. And it's incumbent upon us, and we're going to work real hard in the Senate to try and make sure that the financial commitment that the state has to your work and your mission continues. And then, hopefully we can continue to not have it be an annual fight every single year for an earmark, but more something that, we hope that the state, and I know that Commissioner DiArcangelo, I see you shaking your head. I know that he's fully on board with this, that, this is something that is an essential service, in my opinion, and not something that should be up for debate every year as far as trying to secure an earmark. There's many incredibly valuable services that fall into this space where every year we have to get an earmark, but the Talking Information Center, the main network, is just such a vital service that I really do hope that this is something that we can build into the budget as it was before and, continue to move forward. But to all the volunteers, just thank you. I see the work that you do. And it's remarkable, and the impact that you have across the state to so many people is really astonishing. And we want to continue to keep this going. I know that myself and my colleagues are going to work really hard in trying to make the case as we enter into budget debate next month. And my hope is that we can continue this partnership that the state has, and hopefully expand that partnership as well. But again, my real takeaway message from this is just thank you to all the volunteers and to all the individuals who are making the opportunity to read a local newspaper or see what's in the circular or read a book and the plays and the expansion and everything else that you've done. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody, and my true appreciation for the work that you're doing, and know that we're standing up, fighting alongside you to try and secure this money.
Thank you, Senator O'Connor. The Lowell Association of the Blind is our next stop. LAB has been around since 1923, and it's run by Executive Director Elizabeth Cannon. Elizabeth has provided us a video they produced about volunteering. The reading service is but one of LAB's many programs that both reach and teach the blind. Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about how this video came about.
The video is actually came about to when we were all hunkered down for the pandemic. We had a Dining in the Dark virtually, and we featured all of our services. So we're excited to show it here again. And thank you, Eric, for that introduction. And I would also like to thank Commissioner DiArcangelo for co-hosting, and his team for the work that they've put into this event. Lowell Association for the Blind is a multi-service agency serving the blind and visually impaired in Merrimack Valley. And we're happy to be a member of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network to recognize and especially thank all the volunteers across the state for their amazing service. I would like to introduce one of our volunteers in this video is Leslie Morin. Leslie is a longtime volunteer, but is also has in recent years joined our board of directors. Lab created this video in the fall, and we'd like to share it with you now.
You're listening to the Lowell Association for the Blind radio reading service. Lowell Association for the Blind Radio is a member of the Massachusetts Audio Information Network, your main access to community news and information. Located in Lowell, Massachusetts, we read local news, editorials, feature stories, and more. Lowell Association for the Blind Radio is brought to you by volunteers Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 12 noon, and rebroadcast every day at 4 p.m. I'm volunteer reader Leslie, and I'm reading to you today from Lowell, and we're looking at the Lowell Sun local news today.
How long have you been serving Lowell Association for the Blind?
I've been a volunteer for approximately, I believe, 28 years. And I first started when they were located over on Central Street. At that time, we worked with a partner. And my partner was Wild Bill. And I met a lot of very nice people then. A lot of other volunteers were retired teachers. Dottie Donovan was there then. Elizabeth welcomed me, and I felt comfortable forever. And then as we moved here to Merrimack Street into this new modern recording studio, an actual radio studio, it's just been a passion that I love.
When you come in to volunteer, what does your day typically look like?
Wednesday morning is my day here. I'm at the 9 o'clock, the first hour of the broadcast, and I come in, visit with the staff, and then I'm in the studio, which is a regular radio recording studio, from 9 to 9:45. And I've always valued this time, and I treasure it, and whatever I've done for work over the years has been planned around my Wednesday morning. Nothing else happens on Wednesday morning but Reading for the Blind. So everybody understands that.
Lab has hundreds of listeners daily. How do they all listen in?
We provide radio receivers to our clients who wish to listen and tune in whenever we're broadcasting live, or they may listen with their computer, their telephone, or their tablets anytime they wish to choose. And we also have a link on our website in case folks want to tune in. And we are partnered with UMass Lowell's WUML-FM, who provide the radio signal for us to broadcast 5 days a week. And I have been very pleased to know, after a long time, that I have met some of the people that listen from our Christmas party here, and they recognize my name and my voice, and it's very special.
Are there volunteer opportunities still available for radio reading?
I'm sure there are. And the way I'd recommend someone that's interested in volunteer reading for the blind is that they would call Elizabeth Cannon, the executive director here at the Lowell Association for the Blind, and the phone number is 978-454-5704, and speak with her about coordinating time that's convenient for their schedule as well as for the office.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that video. That's great. I have the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, and we're running behind, so my long, flowery introduction is going to be truncated for time purposes. He's legally blind from a young age, is a graduate of Suffolk University, where he served as an adjunct faculty member. Accomplishments include Director of the Massachusetts Office of Disability, Council Member on the National Council on Disability. This past year, he was recognized Council of State Governments as one of the 30 leaders impacting disability policy. He served on the National Work Matters Task Force and served as co-chair of the Transportation Technology and Other Employment Supports Subcommittee. Personally, on a personal note, one listener told me years ago, this listener was involved in reading services. This man was the only administrator who regularly visited him in remote parts of the state and cared as much about the rural settings as people in urban ones. Please welcome our friend and esteemed colleague, the Commissioner of the Mass Commission for the Blind, David D'Arcangelo.
Eric, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I truly appreciate it. Legislators, thank you for coming today to this important community event. Thank you to all of our colleagues in the main network, all the executive directors and staff that we work with all of the time. And most especially, thank you to the volunteers. Thank you so much. I do have some prepared remarks here that I want to be sure to get to a couple of the points. I know we're running a little bit behind, but I do want to make sure we hit some of these important details because you all matter. So thank you to the many Massachusetts Audio Information Network volunteers, staff, and legislators who've joined us here today. Our statewide radio reading partners are an important part of the mission of the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind. You help us get our message out. Thank you. I want to be sure to thank and recognize and acknowledge all of our Maine members. When I started as commissioner, Maine didn't exist, so I'm so pleased to have played a small role in trying to bring everybody together. That's really my commitment to public service. So thank you to Audible Local Ledger, Audio Journal, the Berkshire Talking Chronicle, Lowell Association for the Blind, the Talking Information Center, and Valley Eye Radio. We value you at MCB. I value you personally, We're persevering through some challenging times, and we're really trying to modernize and get to a place in the future, whereas I think Senator O'Connor said, it's not viewed by the legislators as a nice to have, but it's really depicted here today. And I think anybody who pays any attention here will see that this is a must-have for so many of our consumers who rely upon this information. Sure, you can go to some services and get magazines read, or maybe even the newspaper, but what about the local circular? What about the local public health posting? What about all of the other community events that are done that just can't be found anywhere else? I know that. We're trying our best for you. Just know that we're advocating as best we can that this is an essential service. And of course, to each of you, all of the volunteers, you are such an important part of the outreach to our blindness community in Massachusetts. I value you. By providing news and entertainment on a daily basis, you are a lifeline for many of our consumers, especially during this past year as individuals were homebound due to COVID-19. Personally, I am so thankful for your commitment to community service and salute you and your efforts. By sharing your time and talents for the benefit of our consumers, our friends, our neighbors, this embodies the very best of public service. We hope you will receive or have received our letter of gratitude and certificates of recognition that we put together to honor your service as a radio reading volunteer. When I first learned that this hadn't been done, getting together with our colleagues here and the leadership of all of the main network members, we decided to do that. And I think it was long overdue and something we hope to continue to do. So please just know from all of my colleagues at MCB, all of our counselors and staff, how much we appreciate you and value you. Thank you again for all that you do. We look forward to our continued work together, serving our shared community of individuals who are blind and visually impaired. At MCB, we're hoping to resume meetings soon in person with our community when it is safe to do so. Please contact us if we can be of service to you. COVID-19 is still with us, but thanks to the resilience of our community, our team, and you all, we've continued to deliver our services across the Commonwealth. Pivoting to virtual service delivery in March of 2020, we didn't miss a beat, and you helped us do that. MCB's reached out in a variety of new ways, and much of this information has been or is being shared through the main network. Thank you again for your volunteerism. We truly appreciate you. My door is always open. Please contact us if we can be of service to you. And thank you again to the leadership of all of our partners at all of the affiliates. We're working together. We're trying our best. Please let us know how we can serve you. I value so much the service you provide to our consumers, and I'm so very thankful for you all. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Commissioner D'Arcangelo. We are running a little bit behind, but we will roll over for just a few minutes. So if you can stick with us past the hour, we will complete everybody's readings. And now we head over to the west, to Springfield, where Valley Eye Radio, which proudly boasts over 100 volunteers, has provided the blind and print impaired of Western Massachusetts with readings since 1978. Barbara Lowe's the executive director of this successful organization. Barbara, how about introducing your speakers today?
I can unmute. I'm very happy to do that. My great pleasure to introduce both Senator Eric Lesser and Attorney Peter Benjamin, who are longtime supporters of Valley Eye Radio and truly understand the needs of our listeners, who are mostly seniors and those with vision challenges who need accessible ways of getting their local news and information, and has been stressed from familiar caring voices. That makes all the difference in what we do. These are two extremely dedicated public servants who've had different career paths. Senator Lesser has always been involved in politics, and his public service career has taken him from the White House to Beacon Hill. And he sponsors an amazing event every year called, hold on one second, called Thrive After 55. Annually, it attracts hundreds of community members seeking the latest in how to keep their lives thriving. And Peter Benjamin has had a distinguished public service career in legal aid services and also volunteers for many other organizations. So let's go to them quickly. I know we're pressed for time. We have been around for 40 years, as Eric said, and our volunteers are our lifeblood, and we could not exist without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know how much our two presenters will support that. So,
Thank you,
Peter,
Barbara.
go for it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with my friends, my good friends, Barbara Lowe and Eric Lesser. I am, as Barbara said, I am semi-retired and soon to be fully retired legal aid lawyer. And this is volunteering for this service is a wonderful thing for a lawyer because it's yet another opportunity to kind of hear the sound of your own voice, which is very something lawyers love to do. But really, and it's great for me to hear for some of the volunteers because, you know, I've never really heard that before. And now I can believe that I'm not actually just reading to myself. And there are people out there who are listening and caring, and I'm really providing a service. But this really does combine things that I love, which are reading and helping people stay in touch. And I learn a lot too from what I read. Since the COVID started, I've been reading more because I can do it from home. I don't have to go into the studio, and I've taken up the Science Times, which I read for an hour every week. Unfortunately, as much as it was when I was studying in school, most of it seems to go in one ear and out the other, which is why I became a lawyer and not a doctor or a scientist. But I do retain some things. And I used to spend, even when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time on boards, and I realized that I prefer volunteering at things where I am actually doing something rather than sitting around talking at board meetings about other people doing something. But I have really loved being a Valley Eye Radio volunteer. As I say, it combines my love of talking with my love of helping, and God willing, I hope to do it for many years to come.
Thank you, Peter. And now Senator Lesser. Oh, you're unmute. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Everybody can hear me. Everybody
new father on top of everything else,
yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, we welcomed my third child, David, 3 weeks ago. So he's sort of sleeping, not quite, but really great. And it's great to be here with Harold Anderson, my friend Harold. Thank you for everything he does. He's a regular at our Thrive After 55 fair every year. And certainly Peter Benjamin, who's a great friend and I've known for a long time and has done just amazing work for the legal aid community in the greater Springfield area. We appreciate you. I'll be really quick because I know we're running low on time, and I really just want to come on to say thank you to all of you. I've gotten to know a little bit about the program, mainly through Barbara and Harold, and the exposure I've had to Valley Eye Radio, of course, in Western Mass, which is serving the 413 region. And I just want to say thank you, because I think oftentimes this is a community that goes without recognition, that often suffers quietly without people, really without understanding or knowing or appreciating that there are a community of people that care, and all of you are that community that cares. So, I really just want to say thank you and reiterate what some of my colleagues in the legislature have said, which is we do need to make the case every year, every budget cycle, about how important these services are. I do think most legislators, when they learn how important this is, when they learn what the money goes to, are generally very supportive and very enthusiastic. But that that really means that the challenge is on all of us to get the word out, to constantly be sharing the great work that all of you and all of your volunteers are doing. So just want to say thank you. We'll keep at it. And I really appreciate our 413 team and everything that they've done to serve our Western Mass population. And Peter, I've got to set my calendar to listen to your readings of the science magazines, because I could use some of that edification myself. But I just want to again say thank you to you all, and really please know that we really owe it to you and to your volunteers and to the community that you're serving to make sure you're getting the resources that you need.
Thank you so much, Senator Lesser. Thank you so much. And our next stop is Pittsfield, where the Berkshire Talking Chronicle resides. Again, we may go a few minutes over. We hope you can all stay with us, but we're going to get everybody in and give everybody a fair shot to be heard. The Chronicle's the radio reading service portion of United Cerebral Palsy of Western Massachusetts. The Berkshires Blind and Print Disabled are only part of the UCP mission, which includes a great deal of face-to-face service, training, and support of various disabilities. Unfortunately, Sal Garazzo, who runs the operation so capably with Hazel Goodsell, is unable to be with us today, but I'm sure he'd agree. The Berkshire Talking Chronicle is undeniably a beacon of hope for the print-disabled citizens of the Berkshires. And from the Berkshires, we come to our final region, mine, the Audible Local Ledger. And like my main peers, we face a daunting task. Barnstable County on the Cape is the state's oldest county, third oldest in New England. Viewing an MCB map of the vision impaired in my region is looking at a blurry, solid red swath throughout southeastern Massachusetts. But thankfully, we're not alone in our ambitious goal of combating loneliness and isolation. We have support from our listeners and legislators. One blind listener in particular has become a voice of support, specifically on the South Coast. He chairs the Fall River Commission on Disabilities, as well as leading the advocacy group Community Autism Resources. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my friend and a regular Ledger listener, Dennis Pulselli. Dennis?
Thank you, Eric. I just want to, I like the phrase that the commissioner used from going from it's nice to have to something of a necessity, because I think radio reading service is a necessity. Before I retired in 2009, I was pleased to lead an affiliate, the Metro West Radio Reading Service, and I'll always be grateful to Framingham State University for allowing me to run an affiliate on the campus. When I retired in 2009, one of the first things I did was to ask the Audible Local Ledger to include the Fall River Herald News and Fall River Publications. Our Commission on Disability has been pleased to support this affiliate. So I really want to thank Eric for all of his work, and the volunteers of the Audible Local Ledger for allowing us to hear the newspapers pretty much from start to finish, because you can't get on a regular radio station the kind of news coverage that Radio Reading Services has been able to provide. So keeping my remarks brief, I just want to thank Eric and the volunteers for Audible Local Ledger, and to tell them how much I and we appreciate them. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis, so much. I really appreciate it. And now we come to our final speaker before our closing slideshow. Even in a week that had the House budget being debated, he's taken time to join us and contribute to our gathering. He's offered unwavering support for reading services well before I reached out to his office. It's my sincere pleasure to introduce the representative for Barnstable, Dukes, and Nantucket counties, Dylan Fernandez. Representative Fernandez, welcome.
Thank you, Eric. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's really quite an honor to speak to this group. I actually got my start. One of my starts was working in the Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office, where we enforced the Americans with Disabilities Act quite forcefully, I will say, and worked a lot with the Massachusetts Commission on the Blind to make sure that this group has a strong advocacy arm behind it to push for accessibility. And this followed, I joined the office just following the large case with Apple to make sure that those that their devices were accessible. And then several other cases had followed since then. And that office does such a tremendous advocacy role in this. So I'm really here now. I'm in the legislature. I'm really here just to say thank you. I deeply appreciate the work of all the volunteers across the Cape and Islands. It's just remarkable work. And for folks who are visually impaired, it can be difficult to stay in touch with the community. And really by all of your work providing these reading services, the work that hundreds of volunteers do across our greater area here on the South Coast, you really better connect the community and get access to information to folks who might not otherwise be able to have it. And whether that's reading a daily newspaper or a calendar of community events or even a shopping guide, you really help break down barriers and turn print into sound. And that is something we are incredibly appreciative. I just think, during this time too, it's been such an isolating and challenging year during COVID for all of us, but that can be particularly challenging for folks who are blind and experience perhaps even additional isolation. And your work to break down those barriers and reach out to those in need and help make audible connections to the world is so powerful. So I'm incredibly thankful for all your work. As Senator Lesser said and others have said, it's on us in the legislature to fight for you guys and to make sure that we are funding these programs to the extent that we can and keep putting money towards these incredibly valuable programs for residents across the Commonwealth. So thank you all. I really appreciate you having me, and it's an honor to join this group.
Thank you, Representative Fernandez. I really appreciate your time. Well, that brings us almost to the end of our hour. Perhaps we've opened some eyes to the size and type of organization you're a part of today. But more importantly, I hope you've learned that across the state, there are hundreds of other individuals just like you who wake up each day and answer the question, how can I help? The Maine network is both humbled and grateful for your service. You are what make this whole thing work. Thank you all. May you speak in such a way that others love to listen to you, and listen in such a way that others love to speak to you. Please enjoy our closing slideshow and be well, be safe, look after each other. Bye for now.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Lowell Association for the Blind Lab Reading, bringing you local news and editorials read by volunteers 9 to 12 each weekday and rebroadcast each afternoon at 4.
I am volunteer reader Jean Creedberg, and with me is
Ken Creedberg. Good morning.
And Ken and I will be reading to you from the Lowell Sun.
This is Joshua, and I will be reading to everybody from today's Eagle Tribune and a couple of extra articles as well.
I'm Leslie, and I'm reading to you today from Lowell, and we're looking at the Tewksbury Town Crier.
This is Linda, and I'm going to be reading from the Bellrica Minuteman.
Good morning. On behalf of the Lowell Association for the Blind, my name is Rosemary, and I'm going to read to you several local newspapers.
This is Alex reading to you now, and I will be reading from the Eagle Tribune.
Well, good morning again. This is Connie along with Steve, and you are listening to the Lowell Association for the Blind's LAB Radio.
This is Fran reading from the Sun for Saturday.
And today, Dottie and I will be reading to you from the Tewksbury Town Crier and various other newspapers.
This is the Talking Information Center, a window to independence through local volunteers reading over 300 newspapers, magazines, and books specific to your community.
This is Barry with today's Boston Globe.
Hello and welcome to today's reading of the New York Times. My name is Elizabeth.
Hello, this is Melanie and I'm reading articles from today's USA Today.
Hi, this is Jen reading the Attleboro Sun Chronicle.
Good day, this is Steve at TIC in Marshfield with today's Boston Herald.
My name is Paul, and we're going to read Sports Illustrated.
This is Mike, and I'm going to be reading to you the Week magazine.
Hello, this is Susan. I'll be reading Time magazine.
Hello, and welcome to the Women's Hour. I'm Mary Ellen. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wired Magazine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of a Boston Globe Flashback. My name is Doug. I'm here with my pal Rod. Say hello, Rod.
Hello, Rod.
Welcome to our third Low Vision Support Group here at the Talking Information Center. We, of course, have Carrie McDonald with us.
Back again here at Valley Eye Radio. We've made our tour through the Pioneer Valley. We started off with the Springfield Republican, and then we went over to Westfield for the Westfield News, followed by the Daily Hampshire Gazette for Hampshire County, and Franklin County is the Greenfield Recorder.
Hi, it's Barbara. I'll be bringing you all the latest news on the coronavirus pandemic from Mass Live.
Hi. My name is Andrea, and you're listening to Valley Eye Radio.
Hello, this is Eileen, and I'm reading to you from The Good Life.
This is Mariana reading Trend and Tradition.
This is Paul Rothenberg with selected readings from AARP Magazine.
This is Peter with the first part of FM Point of View.
Good day, this is Barbara. Today I'd like to share with you an article appearing in the Prevention Magazine.
I'm Jim Palermo, reading from Smithsonian Magazine.
This is Barb Callan-Boja, and today I'm reading The Reminder.
Hi, this is Marcia, and today I'll be reading from The Week magazine.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I'm reading from Reader's Digest.
This is Steve Richards, and this hour we'll be reading from the pages of the Daily Hampshire Gazette.
Hi, this is Mary, and I'll be reading from the Springfield Republican.
This is Colleen, reading today's 9 obituaries.
Well, hello there, my friends. This is Jean with Eating Well.
Hi, this is Beth with some stories from Mental Floss.
I'm Sandy. I'll be reading the Amherst Bulletin.
This is Heather Wyman. I'm going to be reading from National Geographic.
This is Bob Kay reading an article in the New York Times.
Hello, this is Linda. Today I'm going to be reading from the Boston Globe.
So glad you could be with us. You're listening to Valley Eye Radio. We'll be back with you live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a great day.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for listening. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the world of Maine, the Massachusetts Audio Information Network.